Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our second Q&A video leading up to the 4th episode for The Walking Dead Season 8. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on Daryl's recent behavior and whether or not we think Daryl may be too far gone. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen episode 3 yet, which was Monster for The Walking Dead Season 8. Pretty crazy episode. Did lots of videos last couple days for you guys if you haven't seen them. We did, the review for episode 3. We did predictions for episode 4. We did reaction for episode 3. We did, questions about, the character death and, kind of how we're feeling about it. So, yeah, spoiler warning, and definitely check out those videos at the end of this one if you guys are interested in checking out any of those. So in this one, wanted to focus a bit on Daryl because lots of messages coming through. People kind of wanting to give their thoughts on Daryl's recent killing spree that he's been on. Ruthlessly killing not only Morales, but the guy at the end, as well as, last season 2 and season 7, killing Fat Joey. And, he's been on a bit of a killing spree, a man on a killing spree, similar to Morgan, which in some cases makes sense, but in some cases maybe not so much. So One Punch Sloth said, is it just me, or is Daryl way too trigger happy? And then we had Zomb Leader Studios, who says, hey Trev, I guess you could say Daryl has killed 3 of the Atlanta survivors, not as zombies, but he was one who put Dale down, so because Dale was dying. Well, that's a mercy kill, though. You can't really count that, right? And then Glenn, he's responsible for Glenn's death because he punched Negan, right? So Negan punched him a little bit more. But also, I don't know if you could really say that he's really responsible for that either. I mean, Negan was the one who did that. He was just defending the group and trying to do everything he could because that's who Daryl is. I don't think we can blame him for that when Maggie doesn't, and now he has actually killed Morales too. So Shreddah said, removes Daryl poster, has another one behind it in the reaction video. And that's true. When I was doing the video, I took the poster down. I was like, oh shit, I forgot I had a Daryl poster behind this Daryl poster. It's like redundant, recursive Daryl posters going back. So, but I can't rip the tape off or the whole freaking top shelf will come down for the one underneath. So I can't escape Daryl, right? He's everywhere. What can we do? So yeah, it's what they're doing right now with Daryl in the story, that they're having to basically kill anybody that he gets a chance to. But I think it certainly is well set up, and I think it certainly makes sense. If you look at Season 7 with the whole Easy Street thing, like Silver Surfer here said, Daryl is a cold mfer. But you guys got to remember Easy Street, like you guys remember that episode, The Cell, like The Cell, The Well, those episodes there from Season 7, but The Cell in particular, I mean, really with that one, yeah, I mean, that would make somebody go kind of crazy. And after seeing, Glenn and Abraham and, just everything that the Saviors have done, Daryl's just not having any of it anymore. He's reached his breaking point. He just doesn't care, it seems like. And especially with Morales, too, Rick is trying to treat it like it was a mistake. Like, no, do you know who that was? And then Daryl's like, yeah, I know exactly who that was. He doesn't care, he just doesn't care. He wants to clean them all out and, root it out and get rid of the rot, so to speak. So he wants to just take out all of the Saviors 100%. So, some people saying they don't really like this kind of concentration on what should the survivors do and the kind of question of should you just kill them all or not. And it seems logically obvious you have to kill them all. But it's a bit tricky at the same time as well, too. And we might be seeing that a little bit with Rick and Daryl having an effect on Rick with his choices. Daryl having an effect on Rick. Rick agreeing with the guy at the end there to allow him to kind of just give out the information and then, leave and go somewhere else and live. And he takes the deal, but then Daryl just kills him straight away. So it's pretty cold because they do make an agreement and then Daryl just kills him right after. So it might be a bit overboard, right, with regards to the killing. Like, it might be a little bit too much. I don't think it can ever be that easy. And I don't think it's a bad thing to kind of focus on, even though we have had that kind of concentration before. But this is The Walking Dead, so a big part of the series is death. And, when to kill someone else, of course, to kill another survivor, I think you do have to, think hard on that decision, whether or not somebody deserves to be killed, right? And whether or not you should. I mean, it's not an easy decision, even though you have characters like Tyrese back with Season 5 with Martin, where he beats the crap out of him instead of killing him, and everybody expects him to kill him, but he won't do it. Instead, he'll just ground and pound his face in, beat the living hell out of him. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's not that easy of a decision. You know, if you put yourself in their shoes and you really think it through, you are taking a life. So you are doing something that is really... you know, and even in real life, too, they have, you know, capital punishment, right? You know, certain places where they'll get the death penalty, other places where they won't. The argument of whether or not it makes sense to do that. You know, you can look at statistics that oddly show that in places, states where they do have the death penalty, in a lot of, you know, situations, the stats are the crime is worse and, you know, than it is in other places. So it's really interesting. It's like you wouldn't think that. You'd think that if you threaten people to kill them, then they wouldn't do, you know, crazy stuff like this and it would reduce it, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It kind of seems like because you're willing to murder, you know, in terms of punishment, then the crazy people that want to punish others in society, they think it's acceptable for them to do it too because the state does it. So really, really tricky, you know, conversation that not only in The Walking Dead, but even in real life too, is a really good question. I mean, if you can give them the opportunity to live and maybe use them for some kind of purpose, then okay, but yeah, you have to, you know, put them in a camp or something. You have to figure out what you're going to do with them. So there's definitely a lot of questions to this, and it's not that easy. But I would say that I think Daryl is a little bit too far overboard with the killing everybody thing, and that even though it makes sense for sure from his perspective, and it's totally natural in terms of his development to see that right now from him, I still think at the same time he might be doing a little bit too much. Like, okay, you can see him killing Morales because, and someone asked here, Frank Cascio said, hey, Trev, so I guess it's safe to assume that Daryl was listening to their conversation behind the door, and I guess that explains how he said he knew who it was. Do you think that's what happened? And that's my interpretation exactly, Frank. So I think that he, at some point, knew what was going on. He heard Rick talking to somebody. He came up, and he, you know, kind of heard what was going on, and he kind of figured out pretty quickly who it was, you know, because he probably already knows, like, out of the original group, all this time in the zombie apocalypse, having time to think about and just walk around, you know, do the stuff he's done. He probably knows exactly which, you know, people could still be alive from that original group. So when he hears Rick talking to this guy about, you know, these past events and this kind of thing, you know, he pretty much would hear that he's sided with Negan. Morales has sided 100% with Negan. He is Stone Cold Negan, just like Eugene. So he made his choice, and Daryl's going to kill him. So, you know, and if you look at the events afterwards where the guys come back or called back, it definitely makes sense that they would kill him like that. I mean, they could try to stop him, but he's got a gun on Rick, right? So if Daryl shoots him in the arm or something instead or the back, he could end up killing Rick. So it's definitely a tough decision to make, but I don't think we can really blame Daryl in that situation. When you look at the specifics, Morales has made it clear that he pretty much owes his life to the Saviors, and he's thrown in with them 100%, even though he knows they're not good guys. But he doesn't care. He's still sided with them, and he's not gonna sway from that. Which I guess you could say is kind of natural, because he could have been with them for years. It's hard to tell. Maybe even like, you know, closer to like what season would he have met the Saviors? Would he have met the Saviors around season 2's end, season 3, somewhere around there? Maybe season 4, and been with them pretty much ever since. So he's kind of like an OG savior, it sounds like. As such, you know, he's not going to go against it from the looks of things. Even given the opportunity, meeting Rick and you know, knowing that he could be with some of the others, like Daryl there too. So it's what it is. You know, it's what they decided to do with it, and I don't fault him for that. But definitely the killing the guy at the end, I do think was a little bit overboard for Daryl, and he didn't really need to do that. He probably shouldn't have done that. Ron Baker says, oh no, Trev, what are you going to do for predictions now? LOL, we need a new theory character. That's true. Someone has to fill Morales' shoes, right? He's got big M shoes to fill. So who's going to be the one to do it? It'll probably be Heath or somebody like that. But honestly, like, I feel like nobody cares about Heath. Like, you know, and some people saying the same thing about Eric too. That nobody cares about Eric. You know, like Eric was killed, but nobody cares. It's like, okay, well, you know, I kind of cared. I didn't care that much though, but you know, I cared a little bit. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Ron. That we're gonna need a new theory character. It might have to be Heath or somebody like that. But you know, yeah, I mean, maybe that's a one-shot deal with Morales. Deadshot says Morales was too far gone, and I think he was. He was too far Savior. He was too far Negan. He was too far gone. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that they would bring him back in that capacity, just as a fan thing, and then kill him off because it's not. it wasn't previously intended, I think, to be a thing. It was just kind of like something they brought up for us. So, a special treat for the hardcore fans. It's not a bad thing for sure. Tristan Castro says, where is Jadis in Season 8? And that's true. The Junkyard Group we have not seen. But I'm starting to think that we're going to see him soon. I'm starting to think that they might come into play soon here. So far, it's been an all-out war between survivors and saviors. But the Junkyard Group's got to come and play pretty soon, definitely. Gary Landers says, hey, Trev, big fan. Here's the question. What's wrong with a little fan service? I don't think there's anything wrong with a little fan service. They can, and not even just with Morales, they can have a zoom angle through the gate on Maggie's ass, and that's what it is. They do it. It's not like it's the first time they've done that. There was Andrea's sister, what's her name, in like Season 1, if you want to go back to Season 1. Like the first time, there's like, it's like zoomed in on her, her butt and she's walking through. So it's what it is, a little fan service, nothing wrong with that. Now, if you're talking in terms of like giving the fans some things that they want to see, you kind of have to do that too. You kind of have to give fans some stuff that they want to see, and you have to make it exciting. Sometimes they kind of punish fans with brutal deaths, like the Season 7 deaths were kind of, you could view it that way, I suppose. A lot of people loved Glenn and Abraham. And I'm surprised how many people are like, I'm quit this show. I love Glenn. I don't want to see Glenn be killed. I'm out, and I'm really surprised at how big of an impact Glenn's death has actually had on the show. And if you look at the ratings ever since, it's like, well, there's other things, of course, that you can attribute to that. But at the same time, it's like, so they gotta give us throw us a bone here and there. They have to. They can't just have it all be dark and every character we care about being killed all the time. They got to give us some light and some good fun stuff here, like throwing Morales in and butt zooms and stuff like this. Is what it is. Tristan Castro says, "Oh yeah, that's the day's one." Dan Mars says, "Bringing Morales back was actually genius. It shut up fans and was great for the character development of both Rick and Daryl. He told Rick something he may not have known about himself or wanted to confront, and it also showed how much Daryl changed because he mercilessly killed an old friend." And that is kind of true, yeah. But even that, they knew each other in the beginning, but they weren't you kind of view it as an old friend, but they Morales even kind of calls it out that they knew each other for like a few days. It was just part of the zombie apocalypse. Yes, it was near the beginning, so they're definitely going to remember each other, and that's what it is. But it's what it is. It's not a huge deal, I suppose. They're not. It's not like Rick killing Shane or something. But I thought it was good. I thought Rick's reaction to it was good because he didn't want Daryl to kill him because he probably wanted to give him a chance if it made sense. But as we saw afterwards, it really didn't make sense because the other saviors came running through, and it was a close one even still. Gotta love those elevator shaft kills. Those were pretty cool. Aaron Gerber says, Eric's death was effing weird. And yeah, it was, and there was a lot of things about it that people are kind of arguing about. I really don't care too much to get into it. The point is, he's killed off in the show, at least as far as we know. You see the walker, and then Scott tells him that that's not him. Maybe I gotta watch it again, kind of go through and kind of sort my thoughts on it. It was a little bit ambiguous, or a little bit. I guess what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of lead you down a direction and then kind of twist it. So they're trying to make you think okay, he walked off that way, and then okay, no, that's not him. So where is he? This kind of thing. Yeah, it's a little bit. It was a little bit tricky to see, and then also the question of friendly fire. Some people think that it wasn't friendly fire; he was actually shot by a savior, but he just said that because some reason. I don't know, am I joking or something? I don't know. I probably got to go over it again to see, and I probably do that tonight. I'm still trying to find. I got to watch Talking Dead as well too, because I think that'd be cool for this week. Angus McBride says, officially done with reading IMDb reviews on the show. People give it a 1 out of 10 before the episode even airs. People are now just hating the show for no reason. It's becoming a popular thing to hate. And people argued this one with me before. I said, absolutely, I agree with you, Angus. I said that in a video, I think it was last week or the week before. It makes so many I lose track of which one it was. But we did say that it is, I agree with you. It's true. It's kind of becoming fashionable, like I said, to hate on The Walking Dead. It's certainly fashionable to hate Fear, that's for sure. But to hate Walking Dead as well, too, it is kind of fashionable right now. So that started in Season 7, I want to say. There was a little bit of that earlier, maybe like Season 5. But Season 6, not much. But then Season 7, after the premiere, definitely it started up, and it didn't... Yeah, it's strange how crowds work, like crowd psych, and how crowds think, and maybe you know, some people, well, you know, you could say also too, again, this is something you can argue for sure, that just the quality of the show caused, you know, a lot of this. You could, yeah, I hear that too. You know, it's kind of tricky, but I do feel like this season, you know, they've really, in the first even 3 episodes, they brought us more action than sometimes they do in an entire season. You know, there's more action in these first few than some seasons have had all the way through. So, yeah, I'm loving that. I'm really appreciating that and really enjoying the hell out of it. Bringing back Morales was a huge deal for me. It really elevated episodes 2 and 3 to really memorable status. Like, I'm not going to forget these episodes. They are special episodes for me as a fan. Just like the season 7 premiere is special. These couple episodes here are special for me as well, too, to see these. So, yeah, but it is fashionable kind of to hate on it. It's what it is. But I think it's what happens when you have a long-running series that just kind of keeps going and going and going. And, you know, it's in its 8th season. They do 16 episodes a year. They're producing a lot of it. They're not ending it like Game of Thrones is ending this year with season 8 or next year whenever they finish it. And see, that's another thing. They can kind of delay it a year to focus on quality and do stuff like that, and that's okay. You cannot do that with Walking Dead. You got to get those episodes done quickly. So, yeah, it's fashionable to hate on the series for sure. Maybe it's because of its popularity, too. When things become really popular, really big, and they're not so, they're not like a cult following, like, you know, that kind of thing. Definitely when things become big, a lot of people turn against it. They think like, you know, oh, it's poppy now, it's too popular culture. They're not showing the gore, they're not showing the deaths. So, you know, again, you can see all these sides, right? You go through it, you know, you hear people like this, you see this, and sometimes maybe you feel that way, right? One way or another. But personally, I think that this season has been really great so far. It's exactly what I wanted to see, and you know, they're delivering it. Even more so because they're bringing in things like Morales and that, which I just never... I never thought they would do that. I really didn't think they would ever do that, and it's just so cool they did that. So it's what it is. Anyway, I'll try to start moving on a little bit with the Q&As away from the Morales stuff because we've been covering it a lot lately, and it's done, man. It's done now. So now's the time we can finally kind of stop talking about it, right? It's what it is. Anyway, that's it for today's Q&A, guys. Send me a couple more questions. Otherwise, you know, we may have a couple days this week leading up to episode 4 where I don't have new videos for you guys just because of lack of questions. So send me some questions for sure. And if you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it, and you can do it. You can put on your subscribing pants at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon. Well, I hope you're wearing your subscribing pants.
What?
Your subscribing pants. Because you're going to subscribe to this channel wearing those pants.